Monday recently launched custom roles for account permission, and this is only for enterprise. But I would like to still show you, and if you really like this feature, then definitely, if you're not enterprise, it's time to go to enterprise, upgrade yourself to enterprise. So now I'm going to go to my Monday screen. Okay, so basically for enable this feature, you need to have the admin permissions. So I am admin of this account. So basically I can click here, and when I click here, this pane is open for me. So I'm going to straight go into the permissions. Right. So as you can see, you're already aware of these different roles, where because there are some permissions for admin here, right? And then if you click here, and this feature also Monday launched recently, where you can set a particular permission, when you can give permission to a particular user type. So if you can see admin, and if you can see member, so you have these permissions. Also for viewers, by default you have only these permission, right? And for guest. So now Monday launched it recently, the custom account roles. So what is account roles? Now these are, you are seeing, is a user type. So not to get confused between user types and roles. What is role? So role, as the name suggests, it can be so for this I would like to give the example of IT team, right? So let's say that you have a new role, which is IT. Deliberately taking this name so that it will be easier for me to explain. So IT team, and then this can be anything for your use case, right? So I'm just taking example of IT team, and I know for IT team I'm defining these permissions for member. So I'm going to create a new role, IT team, and then their user type is member. So now I'm going to create it. As soon as I created, because I defined the user type as member, by default it has taken the permissions for member, because we defined that user type, right? So now in some organization, let's say that you want that only my IT team should have these features, these permissions. Nobody else will be able to perform some actions, right? So for the best example for this is, again, your example can be different, but for best example for this use case can be, let's say that you want only your IT team should create a workspace. Because what ends up happening is that, let's say that my member here, I'm going into member user type, I'm going to search here the create workspace. So now you see create workspace is enabled. So that means any member can create a workspace. But then what ends up happening is that, because any member can create a workspace, I have like n number of workspace created in my account, and I really don't want that. So basically what I will do is, I'm going to go back here. Sorry about that. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is, I want that only my IT team will have this create workspace membership, right? Permission. But from my member, I'm going to remove this, right? So now all my members will have these set of permission. And again, you can pick and choose what is required for member. For example, let's say that export, yeah, so this one is very good, because we don't want that for confidentiality reasons, right? We don't want them, any members, to export the data to Excel, right? So basically we will remove this permission. But at the same time, I want my IT team to have this, right? So my IT team will have like all the permissions, but at the same time I'm restricting all my other members from these. And then now whenever I'm hiring a new user, So definitely, so let's say go into that, because now I have the ability to, let's say that here particular this member is IT team, right? So before this, now for you guys, because you won't have any right now, you may not have any custom roles, so this will not show. So basically they are all members for you. But now I know that this particular member is IT team, so basically I'm just going to change her to IT, and then that way she'll have all the features which I want you to have, right? So yeah, so this will be very handy where you want to restrict some of the members from doing some of the actions. And I just took IT example because this is the best example, but there can be looking at the permissions, right? You just need to pick and choose which one applies to what. And similarly, just like IT, you can have several different roles. For example, you want to have finance, right? And you can come up with a better name too, but I'm just giving just useful for this demo. I just chose this, and then finance team can have another set of permissions, right? So, and then this is available only for enterprise again. So again, if this feature is really very important and you see the usage of this use case, and then if you're not enterprise, then definitely you should upgrade yourself. Now going back to the next feature, again, it's a permission type. I'm going back to those permission type. Monday recently introduced the create doc on item. And we are going to look at this feature also because I have that also listed in the new feature. So I'm going to quickly show what do you mean by create doc on time or doc on item. But for members, I'm going to go here. So you see right here. Because it's item related, you'll see it here, create docs on item. And of course, because Monday launched it recently, by default it will be clicked, it will be selected here. But if you don't want particular people, group of people, you don't want that feature enabled, you can just disable this. So now let's see what do I mean by that. Before that, I'm going to explain you this feature, ability to hide the file and doc column, and then I'm going to come back to other feature because that feature is also enlisted here, doc column template. So ability to hide the file and doc column. So this feature was requested by most of our clients, and very much a very much awaited feature, because as you know, Monday columns can be in almost all the columns, they have the permissions where you can restrict the view, or you can restrict the editing permissions, right? And which is very useful because you don't want everybody to change everything, right? You want, sometimes there are some people who should not be touching the priority, only the project manager should be touching the priority. And we do have that restrict column edit and restrict column view for all other columns, but this was not for file and Monday doc column. So then that was a problem for some of our clients, because if they have file column, it was seen by everybody. So then what they had to do, some of our clients, they had to have, just because files were anybody can look at those files, right? They had to have that file column in a separate board, and there was a connection between two boards, and it was much complicated workflow, just because they didn't want that file columns is viewable from everybody. But now, because Monday launched this feature, so now I'm gonna just include here a file column here, and also just for example, I'm going to show Monday doc column. Okay, so now the same logic, you can just restrict the column view. If you restrict the column view and only owners can see it, then they won't be able to see, and it's like hidden. But let's say that you want only the, I'm gonna remove this restriction, only restrict the edit, right? Then this lock will come, and then only the owners will be able to restrict, edit these files, and not everyone else. And same for Monday doc. So this features will be very handy where you have a file column and you don't want anybody to edit those files once it is saved, right? Only the project manager or stakeholder should be editing that. So yeah, so here comes the file restriction column. Now, next feature which we have is a doc column template. And then now I'll explain you what I meant by create doc on item, right? So this is a normal Monday doc. Now I'm going to actually another board because I wanted to explain you how that doc template column will be useful. I'm going to my project cargo board. If some of you have attended last time's webinar, this was the board which we used as our project template in project management workflow. And as you all know, project management is a standard set of tasks, and you always have some project specification, and normally it is a file, right, in the form of a Word doc or a PPT, right? So so for that we have this Monday doc column, right? And now there is an ability to have this column as a template column. In a sense, let's say I have a Monday doc column, and of course I have an ability to upload different documents here, right? But there is a use case where every time I'm not going to upload a different document, but I want that whenever I will create this column, right, all my there is a template, like a standard Monday doc column which should appear here, right? So then I want my, basically it's a template, right? Template document I want to upload. So now Monday doc can be templatized. So now, so the earlier was a just a standard Monday doc column which I added, and then you can upload different Monday doc columns or similar Monday doc column. But the difference is you have to upload it in each column. File related to task one, even if it is same, you will have to do that every time of a different on different items, right? But now I'm just gonna delete this because I wanted to show you. Yeah. But now let's say that with this new feature, we are setting this doc as a template. Okay, so now this is my document template. And now, as soon as I do that, it will give me the blank template, right? Blank monday.com. And of course, Monday work doc. But of course, I can have, if you have something already in place, a standardized document, then definitely you can create it. For today's demo purpose, I'm just choosing this project plan, right? And now, yes, so now this is my workbook, right? And this can be a project plan. Okay. And now, of course, I can add the widget. I can connect it to my required boards, and I can bring those data also here. You already know that. And now I'm going to come out of it. Now you see, before, if you can see it here, I'm not sure. Let me just make it big. Yeah, this is better. So you see, before there was not this star watermark here. It was just a work doc. But now, because I templatized it, it basically is like a template of doc, and all I have to do is, as soon as this is already there, because my column is a Monday doc column. So this was a template which is very handy, where you have the requirement of standard project specification and you want that in that column. So this feature will be very handy. Moving on to our next feature. Okay, so our next feature is single mode view for widgets. Now I'm going back to this board again. So as you know, on the board also I have the ability to create the widget, right? All I have to do is let's say there is a requirement, these are my tasks, but I want to visualize this task in the form of a chart. So what I will do is basically I will add a view and I'm going to add a chart. As soon as I add that, Monday by default created this chart. I really like this feature of Monday, that whenever you will add any chart, Monday by default picks any column, so that at least you will have some starting point, right? Otherwise, you will have to always go into the x-axis, set the x-axis, and then it's like you are thinking, okay, what's my x-axis and what's my y-axis? But here Monday already chose priority as my x-axis, so all my projects basically are I can see my projects according to the priority. So now I have this, let's say that I don't want to see priority, but I just want to see the status of my task. Let me add a few more working on. Okay, so now, okay, it's looking good. I can see that I have two tasks which is I'm working on it. One is stuck, unfortunately, and one is completed. So I have this chart. As soon as I added that widget, it appeared here. And requirement is I just have one widget. But then it's like as soon as you add it, it's not taking like entire space, but it's like smaller in place, and then you will have to adjust it, right? What if there are more tasks, right? And then you will have to do some adjustment. But recently Monday launched a dock this widget permission, right? So as soon as you do that, basically it takes the entire space of your chart, so it looks nice that it's not looking as it's a empty, just it's just a one widget, and then there is some space, still space there. And if there are more number of tasks, or this place will be really can be very crowded, and then you will have to adjust it. But whenever you will dock this widget in terms of, let's say, a number of tasks, also automatically let me put it here. Automatically it will appear here. So even if I duplicate it, just adjusting my data so that you'll be able to see it better. So now you see I didn't have to do any changes to this widget. It's looking very smooth. So as soon as, and some cases actually, you see my main table is by default. Whenever you will have by default is always the main table. You see the home symbol, that is by default tab, right? But let's say that I want to this set as this by default, this chart as by default. So that means whenever, even if I refresh this board, my board will always open up the chart, and which is Monday is known for its user-friendliness, right? The pictorial representation, the colorful representation. So we should make use of that. So now by I always open my project board in the form of a chart, and it looks lovely. Okay, so moving on to the next feature. Okay, so our next feature, Monday launched it recently, which is the edit custom automation recipe. Now, as you all know, Monday started with built-in automation where you just had to fill in the blanks, and then they went to custom automation where you can add 2-3 conditions and build the automation. And now they enhanced it further better, where they added custom edition. You can edit now custom automation too. I will tell you the difference. Let me go into the project board again and go into the automations. Now I will already have some automations here. When status changes to done, this was the automation which I used for timestamp, if you recollect from last webinar, where whenever the status changes, that day's date get logged there, so that we'll have the actual representation of when the task is done. Now I have another one here. When due date arrives, and only if status is not done, notify task owner. So this is also again another automation. Now I want to build an automation where basically I want to, whenever the task is done, whenever task gets read, I want that to move to another group. So let's build it here, because I already have that automation here on my another project board. Yeah. So I already have part of automation where when status changes to stuck, move item to stuck task. Now I'm going back, just showing you how it works. So task 7, task 2 is, task 7. Let me define the priority 2 here. Okay. So here, as soon as it's stuck, basically it moves to the stuck task. So this was my initial automation, where I just want, it's a simple automation, but now I worked on my project boards, and as I'm using it, I'm also enhancing my workflow, right? So I just don't want, I want it to move to stuck task, but I also want some action on that, right? So I have the team leader here. So as soon as it gets stuck, I want to notify my team leader that, hey, I need your help, right? So then earlier, what I had to do is, because this automation is already completed and I'm not able to edit this automation, I was not able to edit it. So what I had to do, because I have now new condition, it's the same trigger when the status changes to stuck, but now there is one more action added to it, right? So now I had to go here again and I have to search for, hey, when status changes to something, notify. Basically, I'll look for that automation and I will build it. But now, because Monday now gave the ability to edit the customized automation, so all I have to do is just go here, edit automation, right? So earlier they had edit automation, but all you had to do, you could just edit these statuses, right? You can choose either, instead of status, you could choose priority and something else, and you can change. But now, going further, they have given us the ability to add one more trigger or one more action. So now what I want, when my status changes to stuck, then move item to stuck task and notify in the people column, team leader. Okay. Need your help. I'm just building this automation. I can also build customized automation saying, hey, team lead, can make use of these parameters, right? Now I can say item need your help. Update automation. That's it. So you just you edited the same automation and you added the condition, right? But now, let's say that after few months, again, you want to add, now you added a action, right? But the same way, you can add one more trigger also, meaning you can add one more condition also here. What I mean by that is, let's say that when my status changes to stuck, and now I'm taking this to whole further level, that like all the tasks are, even if like I don't want like for every stuck task my team leader should be notified. I just want that my high priority task, my team leader should be notified, because it's a high priority task and some tasks are dependent on it and I really need that. So then just reading by it, it makes like total sense that, hey, if it changes to stuck, but only if the priority is critical, then I want. So earlier, this just to add this condition, because you had to actually, because there was no way you could, in spite of like, let's say, and this is just a simple automation I had taken. I have seen the automations where you had like existing automation where you had like a multiple conditions. So the statement itself still go till here, like 10 conditions and the 10 triggers, or 10 10 actions and the 10 trigger, and all we have as a consultant, because there's some more condition added, I had to just delete that automation and build it again, right? But with this one, it's so simple that I just went here and added one condition and that's it, and update the automation and stuff. And I can add multiple, actually I can add multiple triggers and I can add multiple actions. So yes, so that was really very helpful. Thank you, monday.com. So our next one is, we're almost there. Export Gantt chart to PDF. Wow. So this was really a most wanted feature actually, because as you can see in the project management, you have the dependencies and you have timeline, and Gantt charts are so important in any project management use case. So we already have a Gantt chart here. And before this, you could definitely export it to PDF. But what used to happen is, whatever is there on my screen, only that part used to get exported to PDF. In a sense, I had to really struggle. Just the few minutes before, I was struggling with the percentage zoom, and then I used to, because they want this Gantt chart on their project report, and they want to publish something, and they want this screenshot of this, right? So then, because my project is so big, and of course this is just a standard demo project, which you only have like 8 tasks, right? But the reality, the project can be very big, like consist of several tasks. So then we had to struggle with the zoom in, zoom out. But now I'm just going to make it. Yeah. But now Monday made this little bit easier for us. So when we say PDF, export to PDF, my entire Gantt chart gets exported to PDF beautifully. So you see, now I'm going to show you. It will appear in seconds. It's right here. My entire Gantt chart got here. And sometimes, and one more use case for this is, let's say that here, because it's just a 2 months project, you can see this project right on the screen. But if think about like it's a quarterly project and it's for 3 months, then there was like we have to take really efforts to just to get this into the picture and export it. But Monday made this easier. They always listen to the feedback. They got feedback from a lot of customers that, hey, we're having trouble to export this. It shows so beautifully, and it is pictorial, so definitely we will be able to make use of that in our reports too, right? And it's already colorful, and we could definitely capitalize on that, right? So Monday made that easier.